Bluff is home, but the north is where I'm from. I've been away for 8 years, and coming back is like seeing this place for the first time, like a visitor. And I'll tell you what, this place sparkles.
I don't think it's a secret to anyone that I love islands. I'm obsessed with islands. Don't quite know why. There's something about an island. You go to an island, you visit an island, they're all different, they all attract interesting people, and they're very easy to get a handle on. In this episode, I'm going from here, Gulf Harbour, beautiful, across to Tiritiri Mātangi. That's an island with a lighthouse, which is a double bonus. Then to Carwell, then Little Barrier, very hard to get to, and then to Great Barrier to see the Great Barrier Barrier. It's Islands of Gaga.
Tiritiri Mātangi is at the entrance to the inner Hauraki Gulf, and Māori use as a base to fish and hunt. I'm fizzing because it's home to New Zealand's oldest operational lighthouse, and although it has been automated since 1984, the last keeper, Ray Walters, still can't keep away.
Did you have an inkling that you wanted to be a light? Because I imagine when you're a teenager, you wouldn't even know what a lighthouse keeper was.
No. No, I was at sea on a wheat ship in South Australia. And I saw Cape Willoughby Island on the end of Kangaroo Island, and I set a base in their ship. Now, that's where I'd love to live, one of these things. I was only 17, and I got back here, applied for the lighthouse service. Of course, they laughed at me. But I was eventually taken in when I was 20.
And were you married then? Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, so that would have helped.
Oh, yeah, you had to be married. Yeah, they said you had to be married and sober.
Yeah.
I suppose that was in case your wife got legally should be there to help.
And Ray, Tiri's famous for being such a powerful light. It was the brightest light in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah, 11 million counterpower.
But there was no reason for it to be that bright.
No, people used to complain about it. They reckon you got to read a newspaper on Milford Beach. Actually, I had a lady just after I arrived here. I ordered some stuff from a shop, and the lady said, "Are you the lighthouse keeper on Tiri?" And I said, "Yes, right." And she said, "Well, I live on North Shore." And she said, "Your light shines in my window at night. I just wondered if you can see in my bedroom."
You were fortunate to go from the lighthouse keeper here to overseeing the whole reforesting of the island, so that was a great turn of events for you.
Lands and Survey approached me and said, would I do it? Because they have trouble getting people to live on islands. I know it sounds silly, but people don't last long on
I
islands.
couldn't think of anything better, yeah.
And they retrained me in nursery work, started the project off.
And planted some trees?
380-odd thousand. I didn't plant them, I grew them.
Yeah.
Volunteers planted them, school kids and service clubs.
Do you sort of think it was ahead of its time, Ray? The whole project, the whole reforestation of an island that was farmed?
Yes, it was. It was when it was started, it was quite a controversial thing to suggest to actually take an island as a project, and the thought of creating a forest, releasing endangered species of birds and allowing the public free access was really quite a radical thing.
And why were people opposed? Because they thought that it was interfering with nature, or what?
Yeah, the purists say that you should never replant because it's false, but the botanist that was running things said, does it matter?
The birds that it'll attract will bring seeds anyway, so it'll become authentic in time, I would think.
Yeah, give it 500 years.
You see many disasters from here, shipping disasters or stuff like that in your time?
No, a few fishing boats and silly people in little boats, you know, except for one.
But yeah, there's a classic story, isn't it?
Yeah, the Triumph, 1888, I think it was, about that. And she set out from Auckland, and it said the mate that was on duty had toothache and had taken some sustenance to relieve the pain. And he said to the helmsman, steer for the lighthouse, and that's what he did. And they banged in the side of the island about 8:30 at night or 9 o'clock at night. She sat here for about 2 months before they dragged her off.
My next island doesn't have a lighthouse, nor does it have any roads, so you have to like boats to live there. In 1862, Sir George Grey, an early governor of New Zealand, bought the island, and his legacy still lives on, but not in a good way.
I've never understood Kawerau. It's always seemed to me that Governor Grey buggered it, you know?
Yep.
All sorts of animals and plants and...
Well, most of the animals there, half of them want them killed and the other half don't want them killed.
Harry Verney inspects the Kawerau moorings, so is a regular visitor to the island.
But there's also kookaburras and all sorts of stuff he brought
Mind you,
across.
we got kookaburras on the mainland.
Have you?
Yeah. When I had the charter boat, I shot a few of the buggers because if it's going to rain, you can bet on it. I had a big high pine tree outside my house, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, they'll start calling if it's going to rain within 2 days. They told me when the rain was, but I got pissed off with not getting any sleep, so I got up, poked the 12 gauge out the window and self-sorted them buggers out. But they must be clever. They're probably the cleverest Aussies around, because you only had to shoot 2 and no more buggers came back.
This is kookaburra too,
Yeah, they never landed in that tree again.
Sounds like you've shot most things in your life, have you?
Except people. I haven't shot many people yet.
And there would be a few people for Harry to take pot shots at. During weekends and holidays, Kawerau can have hundreds of people, but it's only a hardy few of around 60 that call this place home. It sounds like you could be as isolated or as social as you would like to be, and the locals try to maintain as much autonomy from the mainland as possible. There's even a semi-serious movement to make Kawerau an independent island nation. I wonder if they'll need a mayor. To get into the psyche of the locals, I'm off to see the shrink Michael Maris, a semi-permanent resident who edits the Kawerau magazine, The Kookaburra.
I thought you'd be the editor of some sort of one-page, get Stepnid sort of very ordinary magazine, but the Kookaburra is quite a big deal.
This is the Vanity Fair of Kawerau Island, I can tell you.
It is though, eh?
It is, yeah. And it's an important little catalyst that keeps the whole community together. 450 copies. Most islanders get one, and most islanders contribute to it.
It is amazing though, because I mean, it's 80 pages, eh?
Yeah, 80 pages. 80 pages of good stuff. Good island community information, some really nice, thoughtful articles, and some clever bits.
And always written by people on the island. You haven't gone
Always.
offshore to get...
Always written by people on the island. Fantastic contribution pool. I have to rustle them up and whip away at their legs from time to time, but they're just magnificent. And that reflects the community. You know, that reflects this community.
Have you gone back over and read all the back copies?
I've gone through most of them.
Have
yeah,
you?
Yeah. When you read it, you realise that the community issues of 1960 are no different to the community issues of 2010. How to go out to dinner by boat and come back without drowning,
Yeah.
number one. Or without falling in the water. Number 2 is how to keep your garden free of wallabies. So there's a bit of exercise about that, you know, from way back. And number 4, of course, is what's the tide doing? Is the tide in? Is the tide out? All these things drive the lives, you know, of those of us who live here.
And another thing that drives the lives of many of the local women and one bloke is the monthly book club. Like most book clubs, it's also an excuse to have a few drinks and a chat, but it does keep the sense of community alive here.
How come you get that?
I had my name down. I reserved
Gee, outcomes are what? Gee! Yeah, a lot of drinking with a book thrown in for good measure, is it?
I like the way he understates things, and for instance, he says, talking of his son, my son then was steadily becoming some self that only he had the chart of. I mean, this is how he writes. And I love that way. This apparently is the middle book of a trilogy, but it certainly stands all on its own, and it really is wonderful.
Fellow calendar people, the Victoria Cruising Club has given us another $3,000 this year to Kurt as a result of what we did last year.
And what they did last year was get their kit off. With half the women in the group being volunteer firefighters, the proceeds went to the island's rescue services. Not a bad use for a wallaby, just quietly. Should have had 2 hats.
So, hey, well done.
Long live the calendar girls.
So didn't we do well? So, cheers, everybody.
For an island with no roads, what do you expect from an emergency response vehicle? This is the island's ambulance, fire engine, police car and search and rescue vehicle, all wrapped up in the form of a jet ski. Unfortunately, I can't really come to Carwell without mentioning Governor Grey. I've read extensively about him, none of it makes sense. What I know, he was English, he started his overseas career in Australia as an explorer, shot and killed an Aboriginal. Not a good start, came to New Zealand, all went bad, moved to Carwell, bought the copper mine manager's house, which is called Mansion House. Why would you call a place Mansion House? It's like calling a car limousine car. Anyway, came to Mansion House, brought all these animals, apparently he's into nature. Brought kookaburras, wallabies, possums, everything dreadful, lions, leopards, monkeys. There were so many monkeys, he's brought his mates down to hunt them. What sort of person's that? Anyway, this is the legacy, this is left here, and it always seems strange to me. You got Carwell Island, and you got this damn beautiful house that's no use. With so few permanent residents, I imagine there might be a bit of friction between them. But one man who is seemingly loved by everyone is Jaffa. So why Carwell?
Well, what happened is we went to the barrier to buy a homestay. We were going to look after people who were dying of AIDS, but the cost of fixing it up was too much money, so we decided to call it quits, and we headed back, got caught in a storm, parked at South Cove. Next day went up the hill for a walk, ran into a mate of mine, ended up having a beer with him, and I asked him, is there anything for sale? And he said, yeah, come and have a look. And he showed us the house and we bought it.
Jaffa lives on a houseboat, a sister boat to the one I spent time on in Whangaroa Harbour.
I've been here nearly 15 years, and when I come, it was the older people, and of course they're either dying off or having to go because of medical reasons. So the new ones are coming, and the younger ones, and I'm sorry, I like the older ones.
Although seeing you seem to have a pretty good community just in this particular bay here, eh? You've got the yacht club and people. How many are living on the yachts around?
9 yachts with people on them.
And you have much to do with it. You're a community.
All of them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They call me Miss Management. I organise them all.
I imagine your overheads on a boat are pretty sweet, eh? No power.
No power bills.
No rates.
No rates. Maintenance is a big deal. But, yeah, no, you live with that.
I actually think you're better off on the harbour than on the land here as well, too, aren't you?
Yeah, I agree. I'd rather be on a boat than living in a house.
There's nothing that gets annoying about living on the boat?
No, it's lovely.
Dog's happy with it?
Yeah, he's as cosy as, yeah.
So there you go. That is Carwell. Not my idea of an island, can't quite tell you why. No roads. Not into that, but the people here seem very, very happy with the place, and that's the main thing. Perhaps the most spectacular island in the north of New Zealand is Little Barrier. It is an absolute flora and fauna gem, and has been a park for over a century. The boat trip there was no picnic, but as so often the way, the destination exceeded all expectations. The island is an absolute stunner. Shane the Ranger clearly has the best job in the world. It's plain to see he's in love with the place and was very keen to show me the tuatara.
Jeez.
Just by the tunnel there?
Better than I thought, bigger.
Yeah, that's Spike.
Just to correct my ignorance, were tuatara everywhere or just on the outlying islands?
No, in New Zealand they would have been all over the mainland. They've found fossils right down south. They're pretty much just on the islands now, northern islands.
Can you have any idea the population in an ideal world would have been here?
Yeah, it's thought that the island could hold up to 300,000 animals.
Gee.
Yeah, and they would have cohabited.
I'm glad I asked that, because I think they say two or 300, because...
Yeah, and they would have cohabited with seabirds, because they do share nests with burrowing seabirds.
I knew Little Barrier had birds in Tuatara. The fact that it is home to New Zealand's biggest weta was a complete surprise.
It's as big as a mouse, isn't it?
Yep, yep. And this is just a little girl. And that's her only defence, is chucking up her
Let's put my
back
hand there
legs
so I
like
can get a
that.
sense of how big it is.
Quite short-lived, only a couple of years.
Long enough, though, to be a weta. After a couple of years, you would have done everything, wouldn't you?
Pretty much.
Shed your skin, climb the tree.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good presentation.
And when I say that Little Barrier is a park, that's not quite true. It's not open to anyone. You've got to be invited to come here. So I'm feeling very fortunate indeed.
This island, Little Barrier's really rocked me. I expected nothing. Wow, it's overwhelmed me. It's one of the greatest places I've ever been. This is like the forest was before man came. Bit of karri logging, not much else, but the trees and the bird life, the kaka, the kiruru, the saddlebacks, the tuis. Few things stun you. Little Barrier's totally stunned me. It's unlike any island I've been to. It is absolutely gorgeous, not just to look at, to hear. The birds. Add to that giant weta and Tuatara. This is an amazing place.
And even the beaches were different from any island I'd been to. Rocks, not sand. After sundown, Shane was very keen to show me kiwi, which are on the island in great number. No luck there, but we were rewarded with the sights of more giant weta.
Oh, this is great. Look at this. Biggest weta in New Zealand. In fact, heaviest insect in the world. As heavy as a blackbird, the very big ones. Male and female there. Hard to get the scale. I haven't got a pen or anything with me, but yeah, that's a big weta. I mean, they're about a foot long, actually, with the antenna and everything.
So that is the amazing Little Barrier. I won't be back, and I'm okay about that. I've had my one chance to visit, and for that, I'm incredibly grateful. Tony is world famous in yachting circles. He's won 2 world titles in the One Ton Cup and also has been New Zealand Yachtsman of the Year. But now his life is taken up with more peaceful pursuits. And when I say peaceful pursuits, that's not quite true, because what Tony is really obsessed with at the moment is killing animals. Well, that's the few that he hasn't already killed.
We used to come here when the kids were growing up, and we just watched the place gradually deteriorate, just gradually fall to rack and ruin. I kept talking about it. My wife one year said, why don't you stop talking about it and do something about it? And a year later, we owned it.
Gee.
When we moved here, we started aggressively trapping cats. And we caught a lot of cats over a reasonably short period of time. And then we realised that it wasn't just cats, it was rats as well. By that stage, we had figured that if we could raise the money, we'd build the fence.
And it's not just any old fence. It cost $1 million and crosses the whole peninsula.
Well, this is it. The cap is to stop cats because they can't get a grip on it. They can jump up here and but they can't get a grip, and so they just fall back. You can't have more than 130-degree angle where the fence makes a turn, because otherwise the cats can jump, bounce off here and bounce over it. So in all the trials they did, that's what was happening if they put a sharper angle.
So like a dum dum dum.
Yeah. The difficulty here was that it was an isolated island location. You had to transport all your materials here. I mean, that exercise in itself was a major exercise because you had a 41-metre barge. It had to unload everything within a time frame of half a tide to half a tide. Otherwise, the barge grounded and it couldn't get out, it couldn't get off again. So you had this mad rush once the barge arrived to get everything off the barge.
After showing me his fence proudly, Tony took me out in his yacht to try and spot some dolphins, which are plentiful around here, and we both saw something that neither of us had ever seen before. Dolphin sex. It's dolphin mating, which is, yeah, it's, well, what do you say? It's pretty unusual and something I haven't seen. You're upside down, all the whites in the stomach are showing. Oh, that's amazing. So that is dolphin sex. And that is Tony Bouzade. And I can't help but think that he could have chosen an easier retirement. I don't know whether I can say that islands change people or people change islands, but last couple of days I've been to some pretty unique islands and met some pretty unique characters. And I think I've got to say, you can't live on an island and not be affected by the place. And I think all those people have been affected in a good way, and as a result, they're making real positive changes to the islands they live on. That's something I think we should celebrate.